Hey everybody, Liz here with Springfield Leather, and this is our Make Something podcast. Today I have a very special guest, Sondra VanArsdale with Bamzi Bags. And then a special secret guest in the corner is her husband, Stu. So he might be adding to our conversation from time to time. Sondra has been making leather handbags for quite a while now. Sondra, how long have you been working the leather?
I would say 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did you find, I know that you are just a crafty lady. So kind of tell us your evolution of, I feel like this is kind of a late life career a little bit, these last 20 years of bags. So how did you move into this from where you started?
Well, I tell you, I started painting when I was 12.
Okay.
So that's a long time ago, about 60 years.
Just 60 a couple.
I started with oil painting.
Okay.
And I dabbled in that and did all kinds of things with that. We owned a business a ceramic business at one time, did ceramics, taught ceramics. We owned another shop that was oil painting and all of that. So all through the years, I've done craft shows and that type of thing, from macrame to you name it. I think I've done
all the crafts?
All the crafts you can think. So we moved to Springfield, Missouri at one time, and I was doing dolls and bears.
Oh.
I'd hand make the bears and the dolls, and we did that for many, many years.
Did you do like little ceramic faces on your dolls, or were they
all
fabric?
They were fabric, and I would paint the faces and stuff like that.
Okay.
So we did that for probably 5 or 10 years, and Stu always called that just playing. We were just playing around because he was busy working and I was doing that. So one day I decided, and I don't like to sew. I will tell you, I do not like to sew. I'm not a seamstress.
You don't like to sew?
No, I do not.
Isn't that most of your time?
Now it is. Now it is. That's the downside. No, I'm just kidding. But I could not find a purse that I liked or that I could afford.
Sure.
Okay. So I said, well, surely there's got to be a way to make a purse. So I started out with fabric, and I did fabric purses for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
But I am a leather junkie. I love leather. And so one day we were passing by Springfield Leather, and I told Stu, I said, let's just go in and see what they have, just for fun.
Yeah.
And that started it,
Kevin got his hook in you.
He did. And I was so green, I didn't even know how to cut leather. I mean, I knew nothing about it, didn't know how to sew leather, nothing. So we went home, and I had got some leather. We went home, and I wrecked my sewing machine right off.
Mm-hmm.
Just totally annihilated that sucker. So we went out and bought another sewing machine, and I did the same thing with that. And so we came in and said, Kevin, what are we going to do here? And he got us set up. So that really started the whole leather process. And I'm very well self-taught.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take any lessons or anything like that.
Yeah, and this was way before the internet era.
Before
the information.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but that's really how it all started, with just not being able to afford the purse I wanted.
The purse you wanted, absolutely. I know. Sometimes, you walk into the mall, like you're going to go buy a bag. You go to the mall, and it's $300-$400 for a leather bag that probably isn't made in the U.S.
Nope.
Might be fine, but even now when I go into stores like that, I'll look at the construction of some of those bags, and I'm just like, we could do better.
That's right.
We could do better. So tell me about, I think that it's really amazing for someone to be able to make a living doing the craft fair circuit. Mm-hmm. We have a really robust craft fair circuit here in the Midwest. Right. I know you do them from top to bottom,
right,
of the little middle here of the United States. So how did, you said that you've been doing that the whole time. How have you found that has expanded and really made you give you the opportunity to grow your business?
That's a tough one. There's a lot of trial and error, especially in even selecting a show.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's a lot.
Yeah, and there's so much product. And now the people like us who handcraft our items are of a minority. Okay.
I went to the craft fair in Ozark a few years ago, and I was less than blown away.
Yeah.
We just walked through. It was mostly things that were being bought and
That's right.
resold. And
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like I wasted my day coming down here.
I have to tell you a little story. Well, it might be a big story. I don't know. We were doing a show in Tulsa,
Okay.
Oklahoma. And we had done that show for many years. And I actually did that show when I did Dolls and Bears.
Okay.
And then we transitioned into the purses. But we were doing that show, and it was right at the era when there was so much embellishment on purses. There was
a lot of bling.
Oh yeah, just full of it. And so, and I was putting a lot of bling on mine too. But before we started the show, Stu walked around and he counted, I think it was 53 booths that had leather purses.
Okay.
Not really leather, but that's what they claim. That had all these embellishments on. 53. We were the only handmade purse there.
Wow.
The only one. And that was the first year that I started taking my sewing machine with me to prove that I actually made them, because people would not believe that I made them. So we started taking the sewing machine, and I would work during the show. And our sales were huge that year. People would come by and say, hey, I'm not going to buy one of these $80 plastic purses when I can come and get a leather-made one for $80.
Right.
Or whatever. And it just kind of exploded from there. But the key for us was to take our machine with us and to actually demo as the show is going on. Very few people do that.
Yeah.
But that does distinguish that you are handmade.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's...
I think it gives people a little bit of like the story behind what's happening. I was talking about this with a couple other of our guests that were really so far removed from most of like the production process on almost anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about clothes or just different things. The food, we're far removed from a lot of the production. So just like seeing somebody, I know at the fairgrounds when I set up for Farm Fest,
mm-hmm.
across from us is a glove maker, and they bring their setup. They bring their machine, their little glove turner outer
mm-hmm.
thing, and they sell gloves to farmers. Like they go every year, they sell them a $30 pair of gloves. That glove is going to get them through the season. And next year they're going to come back and they're going to buy another one. They make a good glove. It's solid. And I think just like they'll customize it for them.
Yeah.
So if you got a farmer that's missing half a finger, they'll make it a half a finger shorter.
Yeah.
And
that's the beauty of having it right there.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many times when somebody will come through and say, hey, would you repair my purse? And my comment is, did I make the purse? And they'd say, no, I got it. So I said, well, then I can't repair it. Because I don't repair things unless I made it.
Right.
I guarantee that. But a lot of the vendors have watched us through the years, the ones who hand make their items. Mm-hmm. And they've started bringing, because we've encouraged them, bring something to do at a show. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you're sitting there with a paintbrush or you're sitting there with whatever. Bring something to prove that you are making this. Yeah. And I can't tell you how many vendors have started doing that just because that's what they saw us do. And it does increase your sales, and it does bring back the handmade to America, to mm-hmm. us.
And I think it makes people excited to see somebody sit there and like watch you make something. It'll draw them in. Yeah. And then maybe that's just like, the 30-second, 1 minute time. They make a little connection with you. Right. They're like, Sondra sewed this stitch in my purse. Yeah. And so then they're going to turn around. And we were just talking right before we got started about how many bags you take to a show. How many bags do you bring when you go set up at one of your fairs? We usually try to start out with 300 or 400. And,
And that includes all the accessory. I mean,
Sure.
just the different sizes. We have so many different sizes now. And
I was going to say, I was looking at your website for anybody that wants to check them out. It's Bamzi Bags, BAMZIBAGS.com. And then you're also on Facebook. You have a little Facebook page. But I was looking at some of your booth setups, and 10 by 20, beautiful, all the bags. It's a really incredible little space that you've built for yourself when you go to those shows. And one of the fun things that I was noticing is that so you say you don't like to sew.
No, I don't like to sew.
So I assume you still like to paint.
I love to paint.
So I love your little appliques that you put on your bags. Yeah. You have you had the three main styles. So you make a Chicago, a Springfield, and then a backpack. And then correct. In different sizes.
Yeah. And totes.
And totes. Okay. Yeah. So you have quite a line.
Right.
And look at the beautiful, for those of you watching, we've got one of her bags pulled up here with a really beautiful floral butterfly applique that you've painted.
Yeah. What I do is I take the leather and I stitch it on. So it's dimensional. And then I paint it.
So you paint it after you've got it on there?
I do.
Oh,
I do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love
that way all your stitches are painted.
Okay, look at you.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to work up this kind of little idea?
The idea, or to do one like this?
Just like adding that to your leather bags.
It usually adds maybe an hour.
Okay.
To add it to it by the time you stitch it and paint it.
Yeah.
It's really not a long process. Depends on what somebody wants me to do. I get some very strange requests.
I saw you have that custom.
Yeah, and I try to do it. There's a few failures, but they don't see that until I get it perfected. So, yeah. So,
what's the hardest order you've ever?
Oh my, I honestly don't know. I do a lot of things I probably shouldn't. To be honest with you,
I think I know what you're talking about.
But
we do.
I do a lot of the detail, for people, and some people like logos. Some people, especially college, you get a grandma come up and she'll say, my grandchild goes to this college, and can you do the logo? And of course I can do the logo. I don't want to say what ones I've done because I don't want to get in trouble.
I know there's a fine line there between like with the custom, because there is, the custom creative side, and everybody does that. Everybody does their fan art. Right. That's kind of the thing right now is, between schools or I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to say anything specific either. Anyways, the trendy things. Everybody kind of wants their own spin on that.
Well, I can give you an idea. Disney is one big one that I get requests all the time. Yeah. But they have now unlocked their copyrights on a lot of things. Really? Like Steamboat Mickey.
They hit their 100-year.
Yeah.
So they can no longer
copyright.
They're too old.
So I did Steamboat Mickey this last year, and I could actually put it in my booth, and they just went out like crazy.
Oh my goodness, I bet.
So there's a few of them that once they release them, then I can use those. And Disney's a big thing.
Oh, absolutely,
a big thing.
Absolutely, so, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to both the parks and just all the stuff that they have there.
Yeah.
Maybe
so that's kind of exciting that they're doing that.
That is very cool. I have the Steamboat Mickey Lego set. And I love it. His little things go up and down when you roll them across the table. I think it's the little steam stacks. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
The steam
stacks.
They
go up and down.
They go up and down. Well, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So that's kind of an example of.
Yeah. So let's talk about the custom side of Bamzi Bags. So you have your kind of line that you make. Do you step out of that line to do completely custom, or do they need to kind of stay within your set patterns and then you can?
I won't redesign the shape of the purse.
Okay.
For people, I've been asked many, many times. We'll customize colors, interior, whatever you want to put on it, if you want it plain, whatever. We do all that we can do. But years ago, I tried to chase every little request, and I found myself losing my mind,
Yeah.
because when you mass produce, which is basically what we do, because there's just the two of us, we don't use a pattern, so you can't do a pattern as far as cutting out. And so we just do the basic designs, and that seems to be what everybody wants anyway. So kind of that style.
You found your good niche. You have your couple of different sizes, so everything from somebody that's looking for a small version plus a larger version. So who does what in Bamzi Bags?
Okay, well the hardest part of all is the cutting.
Yeah,
and I will repeat that, not cut leather hides. I just won't do it. I don't even cut fabric. So when I first started making them, I did, and it took me forever on the fabric to cut out that. So Stu said, I'll cut the leather for you. And I'm like, okay, here it is. So that's his job.
You're like, you signed up.
He signed up, and that's his job. I don't take it back. I will not. If it doesn't get cut, it doesn't get sewed. So, okay.
If Stu wants a bag, he's going to make sure it's cut out.
That's right. So, and then I just do all the assembly and, put it together, and I have the fun.
Yeah.
That's the fun part, is to do that. I love colors, and so I have a lot of colorful things. I get very bored with just black and brown.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often. So
Do you find that those are your best sellers, though?
Unfortunately, yes.
That's the consensus I seem to be hearing with the bag makers is everybody wants it doesn't have to be a specific brown,
right?
But everybody wants a brown or a black, just a good neutral.
We can always tell when a new customer comes in. They'll look around and they'll say, man, look at all these colors, and oh, I love this and I love that and I love that. Do you have this in a black? And I'm like, oh, yeah. So
of course.
I can do several blacks in a row, and then I have to put in some color.
Absolutely.
I'll tell Stu, just start cutting color, because I'm done with black right now. So, but it's a lot of fun. I can change up that variety a lot.
You find that your painted appliques kind of help you to stay sane in the black and brown world.
Yes, very much.
Just put a little bit. Does that seem to satisfy the market enough to where you have kind of a plainer black or brown bag?
Yes.
But there's a little bit of brightness to it, a little flair.
I think a lot of our sales are with color, honestly, unless it's a first-time buyer or something. We have a lot of repeat buyers that come in and say, okay, now what colors do you have new? Or, what style of leather do you have? So,
fun.
So they follow. We have little roadies following us all over the place.
That's amazing.
So we depend on a lot of repeat customers. I mean, that have a lot of Bamzi bags, So
ladies like their purses.
They do.
That is. I don't understand that. I have a one bag, and then I have a backup. Like, I need to go hike through an airport bag, and I don't want my one little bag. But otherwise, that
sounds like me. I have a lot of purses, but I only have maybe one or two of my own. And I very seldom carry it. I don't even think about it. I think I make so many of them. I just don't think about it.
Right. So you were saying that you take 300 plus bags to a show with you, and then you leave with almost nothing.
Well, that's the goal.
Always.
That's the goal. We a lot of times we'll come back with maybe 60 or 70.
Okay.
We rely too a lot on orders. We take in during the fall season shows.
Mm-hmm.
We come home sometimes with over 100 orders to fill.
Gotcha.
And of course, then everybody wants it for Christmas, but we don't get home till the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So that makes it really stressful. And we always have to come into the leather store, of course, to get the stuff that they want.
I know. And now you're not very close anymore. So
we're still close. We're still close. We can still make it.
It's close enough.
But so the orders are an added stress, but we feel really blessed when we get those orders. So
Well, and
you know.
having the variety of bags that you take to
Yeah.
a show, I'm sure that gives, people an idea of what you can produce.
Yes.
And so then, then they'll put together their own little thing and
Right.
you go home and you make that. But
Right.
if you didn't have the variety, then people need inspiration. People
They
that,
do.
yeah, people that don't make things, they're always looking at pictures or sending you examples of things. So having all of your work there
Yeah.
that somebody could reference
Right.
and then pick, each little section for them.
Yeah. And sometimes we
happy.
get in trouble because we buy a lot of Kevin's one-of-a-kinds.
Yeah.
We love those
You're
because
really
we get
good.
a good variety. And when they're gone, they're gone.
Yep.
And some people understand that and some people don't. So I think they've learned through the years to not wait around. If they see something they like to get it, then.
Oh, you're training your customers.
I am.
It's a lot of work. It's very,
Yeah.
very diligent of you.
Stu does all the sales. He, I sit there and have fun sewing, and he does all the work.
You just admitted to
that's part of
having
his-
fun sewing.
That's part of his job. Well, but see,
Like
it's
you
not,
cut the leather and you talk to the people, and I will sew the bags.
Yeah. Well, I actually, I guess you could call it sewing. Yeah.
You assemble.
I assemble. That's a
You
better
assemble.
word. Yeah.
So how have you, since you didn't love the sewing in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
how have you gotten past that? Is it, do you just enjoy making the product?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. When I say I don't like to sew, it's mainly I do not do garment construction at all.
Yeah.
I
Garments
had
are a
enough of that
whole
in
thing.
home ec, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So that's what I consider sewing.
Gotcha.
What I do is more of a fun hobby type thing, and I like to sell them. I like the money. I mean, real honest with you, it's a good motivator.
Absolutely.
So
You spend a lot of time doing it.
I do.
It's a lot. What's your average week look like?
Okay. We usually start out, I usually work Monday through Friday and some is Saturday and maybe half a day on Sunday. Depends on.
The good life of
Yeah.
a self-employed crafter.
I would say every day we're down there sewing and cutting and working.
In your studio's in your house?
Yes, it's
Okay.
in our basement. Got a nice space, and we've always worked out of the home.
Yeah.
Just to keep overhead.
Sure.
Nothing else.
Renting a place gets really expensive.
So I would say 6 to 8 hours a day.
Yeah. You're down there.
We're doing it. And then, of course, we have to spend time at Springfield Leather. And that cuts out of our day, of course. But we spend a lot of time down there.
Yeah. How many, so Stu's over there prepping leather for you.
Mm-hmm.
How many bags at any given time are you manufacturing?
I can typically do my sewing part on just kind of a straight bag with no painting and additional stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Takes about an hour for me to sew it from start to finish. That doesn't count the cutting time.
Right.
Used to, I was lucky if I got three done a day.
Okay.
So, I get it.
So now you can get 6.
Yeah. At
if
least.
You're doing one an hour?
Yeah.
Very nice.
And a lot of time when we're getting ready for shows, I do what we call super preps.
Mhm.
I'll get it to where at the show, all I have to do is like the final stitch around the bag and put on the handles. That way.
So you're taking a section of incomplete bags to the show?
And finishing them. Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that speeds up my production as far as that goes, and then I can finish them when I get to the show because the people want to see you sewing.
Yeah. So you have to have something.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to kind of figure out what was good? If you're like, okay, I'm going to sew at the show.
Yeah.
What do I need to get there?
It took about 15 years, and every show I would do, I would say, okay, I'm going to add this to the prep and this to the prep, and
Mhm.
When we first started, I would just take all the pieces flat,
Yeah.
and I would sew it from start to finish at a show, which was a nightmare for me because I'm sitting there flapping around and trying to
Make sure you remember all
talk
the
to
steps.
people and kind of guide it around. So every show and every year I would increase the preps
Yeah.
and to now I've got it to where it's just about 15 minutes and I have it done.
Very neat. So do you are all the bags like that?
No, we usually take about 100, try to take about 100 that's prepped.
Okay.
And
ready
fully
done.
To do at shows.
Yeah.
And then, that's on top of our regular stock. So
Gotcha.
And a lot of times people will say, well, I want that one. And I'll say, well, give me 15 minutes and I'll have it ready for you. And that is always a big deal for them too, because they get to see it actually finished and they think that's great. So
that is a fantastic idea.
Yeah. So that has been a big thing for us. So
very neat.
Yeah.
Very neat. We were just talking about how a lot of the folks that vend at these craft fairs are starting to get older, and you guys aren't seeing a lot of young people come in. Our last interview was with a 19-year-old girl that's down in Arkansas, and she started.
And we met her and talked to her too.
Yeah, and so she started to do, and it is very exciting to see. But there's only a couple of those coming in for all the ones that are kind of up at the topper edge, maybe getting ready to retire.
Right.
And so I know that that's something that we think a lot here about at Springfield Leather is how can we encourage the young folks to take an interest in leather craft, and whether or not it's, going to be their full-time gig, which amazing if it is, if you can support yourself on your own, making your own product, setting your own schedule. That's the dream, right?
It is.
That's the dream for people, not to have to punch a 9-to-5 clock or go do something that isn't necessarily meaningful to you. And so, but even if you can't quite get to that stage, which amazingly she has, and she's only 19.
She's doing very well.
Since she was 12.
Yes.
I couldn't even, it's incredible.
Yes.
And family support is probably 75%. She has really hard work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
She's ready to go, but she's the young generation of you coming in and doing the craft fair circuit and showing what can be made.
Yes.
By hand still here at home.
There's something to be said about doing it yourself, making it yourself. Of course, I started out so young. I've always loved the challenge of doing that. I very rarely buy anything that if I think I can figure it out, I'm going to figure it out.
Right. It's kind of a curse.
Yeah. But that came from my parents too. My parents encouraged me just like her parents are encouraging her through the years. Whatever I'm gonna try this, and my dad would say, "Well, let's go buy the stuff, and let's get you going." And he did that, and I carried that through all my adulthood. Now I'm to the point where we're one of the aging vendors, so yes, we need these younger ones to come, and be a part of it. It's a lot of fun. It really is.
It is.
You get to meet a lot of people.
And I think in the age of digital communication and chronic onlineness, going to a fair, physically looking at somebody in the face, having a conversation, having that personal connection to something, you made the product and now you physically get to sell it to, a peer in the world that wants to support something that another person is doing, I think is really an incredible privilege to have. There's so many, especially for a young person, when you're entering the workforce, it's not a very welcoming place.
No.
Most of the time you're going to start off somewhere corporate where you're just a tiny cog in a huge machine where not a lot of what you think or say makes a very big impact at all in your surroundings. And physically making something and then taking it to a customer, like they're going to use it or they're going to give it to somebody. There's nothing more special than like crafting something that's going to be a present for somebody.
Right.
I'm working on a wedding present right now because I strongly believe like I just can't anymore go to a store and buy a gift basket full of bubble bath and chocolates, it doesn't feel genuine. There's nothing special about that.
Right.
but like sitting up in my craft room and physically making a product for somebody that can last them for the rest of their life.
It does.
It means something, and it feels really good to do that.
Yeah.
And I think we've gotten away from that a lot. Everything is so everything's on Amazon. You can just go buy it on Amazon.
It's too easy.
It's
too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the course of your life, you have done all of the crafts. So how has that helped you think about, the world or the Amazonness of our current economy?
Well, I personally don't buy a lot of stuff online.
Good job, you.
I don't.
It's hard to not do that, and it's impressive to find somebody that's like,
I like the handmade. I mean, I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up with that back in those days, I mean, that's a long time ago. That's what you had to do.
Yeah.
And it was fun. I don't know. I've just always been a little bit too crafty, maybe too creative on some things, but that's where we need to be. That's where our world needs to be right now, is back to the basics, basically, get back to making things and having fun, producing, selling, that's the thing.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people still wanting to buy handmade things.
Yeah.
They just can't find them.
Right. Yeah. Or sometimes it can be really difficult to find something that's affordable, that's handmade.
Right.
A lot of your bespoke handbag makers are out there, and they're selling $500 to $1,000 products that are unattainable for the average person. So then they're going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to go buy this thing made in China for $25 because the next option is $500, and I can't do the leap.
Right.
But I think that, doing it for the interaction with the public and for your own enjoyment, you're making something that you can price at a reasonable rate.
Yes.
Where you were just, talking about one of your customers that came through and was like, oh, I've never spent this much on a bag. And what were they spent? Like probably $120 on a bag, maybe.
Yeah.
$120 on a bag.
Right.
They've never spent that much on a bag before, but now they come back every year.
Right.
And they've seen the worth of that product.
Right.
Yeah. And so finding the balance between being astronomically priced with your handmade thing, and then, the Walmart $15 to $20 thing. But that Walmart $15 to $20 thing is going to last all of 5 minutes.
Yeah, right.
It's going to last all of 5 minutes.
We had a customer come in years ago when we first, actually, one of the first few years we had leather. She came in and she said, "Oh, this is too much. I can't spend something like this." And so I was talking to her, and she had quite a few friends with her, and I said, "Well, what kind of purse do you carry?" And she said, "I always go to Walmart. I buy a $25 purse. That's my limit, $25. And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, how often do you have to buy that?" And she says, "I budget to buy one a month."
No.
One $25 purse a month. And I said, because she said they don't last. And I said, "Oh." So I pulled off one of our purses that was, at that time, it was right at $100. And I said, "Well, this is $100. And she said, "It's too much money." And I said, "Okay, now I'm not really great at math, but if you take
you're the next 4 months
$25 for 12 months, what have you spent in that year?" And she went, "Oh." And I said, "I guarantee you take this purse for $100 and it's going to last you years."
Yeah.
Years. And she said, "Oh." So I think she ended up buying it, She came back the next year and she said, "There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm going to buy another one."
Because she has a lot more money now.
Yeah. I saved her. I mean,
you saved her hundreds of dollars.
So people don't
dollars.
Think about, man, I got this purse and it's $20. That's great.
Yeah.
And it'll look good until you walk out the store, and then it doesn't look so good. The zipper breaks or something. you guarantee your
The
product
paint
like
on the
we
vinyl
do.
starts peeling immediately.
That's right. So, it's all a matter, and we like to price our items that the average lady and girl and person can handle.
Yeah.
And that's why we do it. Yes, we could make more money, but probably at it, but then
You
that
wouldn't have
takes
those
away our joy.
connections. Yeah.
We're helping somebody out. We love that part.
Yeah. I feel like I've broken record at this point, but there is just something really special about making something and then putting it out in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
I know every time I make a knife sheath that goes with, a beautiful knife that one of my amazing knife makers have sent me. Most of the time, I don't know who it's going to. I don't know who they're being sold to. Maybe they don't even necessarily know who I am, but it's a really incredible thing to just have this piece out there in the universe where, somebody has a really good product that it's going to last them a lifetime, most likely. And if it doesn't, you're probably going to fix it for them.
Right.
If a stitch fails, which sometimes it happens, the world is full of thorns, so one might catch a stitch.
Right.
You can fix that up. Or just the fact that you have a product that is fixable. We were talking to the owner of Renia, the adhesives company,
mm-hmm.
and he was saying, 50 years ago in Germany, there was thousands and thousands of shoe repair
yes.
businesses. Like we were repairing merchandise. Somebody made it. They made it in one of the many factories. I mean, the East Coast of the United States just used to be covered in shoe factories. Probably a lot of Chicago used to do a lot of shoes.
Absolutely.
I know down in Arkansas and kind of southeastern Missouri, western Missouri. So anyway, somewhere, you have all the boot manufacturers.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Boot was producing down there a ton of shoe manufacturers. And at this point, a lot of it has gone.
Yeah.
And we have 2 shoe repair places, even here in Springfield. And I was talking to them, and they have more business than they can handle because people still need that little bit of custom care. Or if you buy a product that's more than a $25 pair of Walmart shoes, you go and you're going to buy, okay, I'm going to spend a little bit of money. I'm going to buy a good leather shoe. And then you can get it fixed. And then you have a shoe that lasts you 15 years instead of a shoe that lasts you 6 months. And I think a lot of people, just like your lady, that blows my mind. But a month, I thought you were going to say every 4 months or every 6 months.
Every month.
Every month she's spending $25. Yeah. And just the mindset to not be like, hey, I could save up for the next 4 months.
Right.
And then I can get a bag that's going to last me for 10 years easily.
Yeah, they will.
And so kind of re-educating. I think it's a lot
That's
of
a lot of it.
Mm-hmm, that's a lot of the part of being a crafter is re-educating people that life does not have to be so disposable.
Right.
I think I love antiquing. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Me too.
Every time.
Because I am one.
I love finding my parents are from Oklahoma, and I went to Veneta. Veneta has this great antique store, and it's an expensive place, but they have just really fabulous old things. And I found this teapot, and I spent $80 on this teapot, but it's this genie thing. It's a beautiful ceramic, this finish. I looked it up. It was some pineapple Hawaiian finish. I don't even know. But there's just something special about old things that you have a hard time finding with new things.
That's right.
Yeah.
A lot of that comes down to quality.
Mm-hmm.
It's you don't have the quality of products.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have things shipped in from all over the country, all over the world, and they'll fall apart a lot quicker than those products that you hand make.
Yeah. So what was your upbringing like? You said that you had pretty industrious parents.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that kind of create the mindset of, I want to make something for the public, for you? Or did this kind of just happen?
A lot of that came from, I had made so many things and given so many things away that I finally had to start help paying for those things I was giving away. I tell you a little funny. In high school, they used to do bead work, all kinds of little tiny seed beads.
Mm-hmm.
And so I designed a ring, and I made a ring and had a flower on it. And I sold them all over the high school for 25 cents a piece. And I'm not kidding you. And I was so busy that of course, I didn't really care if I studied or not, but then I got in trouble because I wasn't studying because I was making these rings, but I was making and so it started out very early in my life that I would just see something, I'd say, I'm going to do that, and so I just started doing that. When we first got married, I was into ceramics, and so I would do ceramics for shows, and then we had a ceramic shop, and I did ceramics, and it's always been, I've always just had my hand in making the product and selling it.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I probably have made a product for this long.
Okay.
And still been gung-ho. Maybe it's because I'm getting too old to learn something new. I don't know. But, usually I'll do it for a while and then I'll move on, and do something different. But the leather is really, that's the thing.
You found your calling.
I have.
Yeah. How have you seen the craft shows change over the years since you've been going to them for so long?
Well, we started out with the small craft shows and outdoor craft shows, which is a growing market. I mean, there's a lot of shows all over.
Yeah.
Business was good. When we got into the purse business, we got a little bit more selective, and we started going to larger shows and indoor shows.
Yeah.
Because we have found that if somebody comes to an outdoor show, they're not that willing to spend $100, $200 on a leather purse at an outdoor show. They're looking for the less expensive items, and so it's more that way. But of course, shows come and go. I mean, you never know if you're going to have a good one or a bad one. We've never really had a bad one that I can recall, but there is one that we did have. That was pretty bad.
What is the story?
I'm sorry. Oh, my goodness. Well, we learned many years back not to do women's fairs.
Okay. Because
it's kind of like adult trick-or-treating. They want to come around and they want to have all the free stuff handed out to them, and the brochures and the gifts and all this stuff. And then you're kind of thrown in, your handmaid is kind of thrown in with market stuff.
Yeah.
And this one particular show, and I'm not going to say where it was, I was put right across from, I'm not even sure I should say the name of the store. Okay. Anyway, it's a very popular store. You have one here in the Springfield Mall.
Okay.
And they had probably 20 employees there.
Oh, wow.
And they had a little old tiny booth. So all the employees would come and just sit on my sewing machine in front of our booth and sit in front, blocked us off entirely. We lost a boatload of money at that show,
Yeah.
And I did some ornery things to them, One of them was very painful, but, anyway.
You're like, I'm not making any money, so I'm going to make your guys' life hard.
So we decided that women's fairs was not the thing. You have to know where your market is.
Yeah.
You have to, and it's a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
Just because we do good at this show does not mean somebody else is going to do good at that show.
Sure.
And you cannot judge a show by what others are doing or not doing. You have to get in there and you have to stick it out at least 2 or 3 years to try to get in there and get yourself centered. Because the ladies who's coming to these shows are looking for stability. They're not looking for somebody who's going to promise the world and then not be there the next year.
Right.
They want, and they enjoy it. They have fun at these shows.
They're looking for that connection.
Yeah. They do. So it's kind of a tough world to break into till you can find your niche, until you can find where you want to be, and what you want to do.
I think that's really great advice, though. Like check out a show, try it for 2 or 3 years.
Yes. Yes.
And then probably by that third
Yeah.
year, if it's still not, if the clientele that's coming.
Then you go somewhere else.
That's, yeah.
You know, you can't be afraid to step out. You know, for years, we'd have people come up to us and say, you need to try such and such a show. They are raking it in by the bucket loads. And so, man, okay. So we'd run there and we'd get in the show and we're sitting there going, oh, wow, what is going on? But we always gave it 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of them ended up being great for us. And a couple of them, we moved on to something else.
Sure.
And you just have to keep digging in there.
Until you find your people.
Till you find your people.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do.
I think that's a really interesting kind of thought. We did the women's show here at the fairgrounds years and years ago, back when Molly was still working on retail. For the bead side, I think we took like a bunch of our finished jewelry. We were really trying to market to like that wedding sphere,
Right.
like come in, build your own wedding accessories here at Springfield Leather. But it is just a lot of window shoppers.
It is.
At that show. They want the free stuff.
The women's
They're
fairs
there.
are tough.
Yeah.
They're tough.
Yeah. Yeah. You have people that aren't necessarily serious about anything in particular.
Right.
They're just out for an afternoon
Right.
with their friends. They're going to go do something, you know, spend a day doing a thing.
And a lot of them, they're informative.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
really are.
Yeah.
They're
You meet
informative.
different businesses,
You know.
meet different things.
You're right.
But not necessarily go in there to either spend their money
Right.
necessarily.
Right.
So giving that a shot.
Booth design.
Oh, tell me about your booth design.
Well, okay. We started out with a 10 by 10
Okay.
booth, but we always require a corner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And even to this day, I will refuse a show if they put me in line. I'm real picky. I want to be on that corner because that's your most exposure.
Yep. I do like
That's
my
your most
corner.
exposure. You have to, it needs to be a booth that's not cluttered. So
Yeah.
many times people will like set up tables and they don't make it user friendly. So people can't come into your booth. You can't welcome them. You can't talk to them because you're talking over a table,
Right.
basically. So our booth, we've designed it to where you can walk in, walk around, walk through. And it holds quite a crowd because I tell you what, it gets full.
Mm-hmm.
We have all of our purses up on racks so people can look through it. But
Yeah.
we keep it pretty well basic. We put a black curtain behind ours, so we don't want any distractions behind, like bright colors or something like that. Because the purses are supposed to be what
The
shines.
showcase. Yeah.
And of course, I always put my machine out right in front to where people can walk in
As
and-
they're coming down the
and
aisle.
they'll just talk to
they'll see
me,
it.
and
Yeah.
People will say, "Do you mind if I stand here and watch you?" And I'm like, "No, I don't care."
That's the whole point.
And a lot of times people will ask me, well, "Why are you doing this and this?" And I will give out quite a bit of information,
Okay.
but there's some things I won't.
Okay.
They're
Sure.
mine.
Your
They're-
little
they're
trade
mine.
secrets.
That's right. They're mine. So, but normally I'm very open with somebody, and I always encourage, especially little. You can imagine how many little kids come up and they're just full of, they
Full of
have so
wonder.
many questions
Yeah.
and they want to touch it, they want to do all this stuff, and I love talking to the little kids because that's the age that I learned stuff like that.
Mhm.
And so then I'll say, now you go home and you make a purse. And this little girl will say, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that, And they might.
They
you know.
might. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well, thank you for
So-
trying to encourage those
Yeah.
little generations.
absolutely.
Speaking of little things,
Oh, yes.
I hear there's a tot in the room.
A little tot.
There's a tot.
It's on that one.
They've brought a couple of their purses in for us today. And I just love. So tell us, well, why don't you tell us a story? How did you become Bamzi Bags?
Oh, well, that's an easy one. Okay. My granddaughter, when she was born, we all got to pick our names
Okay.
that she was going to call us. And so I picked Grams because I always liked Grams. I used to call my grandma Grams a lot.
Okay.
And so everybody picked their name. When Audrey started talking, I was into Emerald Lagasse. I loved Emerald Lagasse. And he was always going, bam, And so she watched a lot of that with me. And so one day she looked at me and she just went, bams, just like that. And I said, oh, that's kind of cute, And her mother at the time said, no, her name's Grams. And I'd whisper in Audrey's ear and I said, Bams. And so she just started calling me Bams, because I just love that,
Yeah.
So when we got ready to name the purses, it just didn't sound right to say Bamzi Bags, for many reasons. But so we came up with Bamzi.
Okay.
Put the Z in. And now Audrey calls me Bamzi a lot, so she was really who named it. She didn't know it at the time, but
that's adorable.
And I thought it was kind of catchy.
Yeah.
So that's how we came up with Bamzi Bags.
Very cute.
So,
well, tell us about your little tot.
Okay. This little tot.
It's the best name ever.
My granddaughter actually named this because it looks like one of my big totes. Let me get it disconnected here. It's just a little thing you can add onto your purse. It's just a little pouch. You can unzip it.
Just a little tot.
My granddaughter is 23. Okay. And I designed a purse when she was young. She actually designed it. It's our extra small one. And she told me exactly what she wanted in it. She used to carry them all the time when she was little.
Okay.
But when she grew up, she doesn't carry a purse. She just hasn't for many, many years. So one day I just made this up just for fun. And she said, oh my word, that's what she carries. And because she can put all of her stuff in that little purse.
All three things fit right in here.
And hangs it on her lanyard and she's fine, So, but she named it Tots. So it's just a little tot instead of a tote. So it's just kind of a new add-on thing. Ladies love the add-ons on purses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We love a good accessory.
Yeah.
And it's perfect. Throw your lipstick or your ID in there if you're just needing to head out, little chapstick, good to go.
So, but that's
very
a tot.
Cute.
Yeah.
Do you sell a lot of those with your bags?
This is the first year for them.
So the tots are new.
The tots are new.
Everybody with their Bamzi bags.
Hopefully, we're
pick
going
up
to
a tot this year.
Lots of tots made before we leave. I'm working on it. So, but it's good too. There's a lot of times it shows a lot of our regular customers that come in. I like to just bless them with a little something. And so, they might get a tot or, they might get a bow, or something like that, some little add-on or a little pouch, just to
and that's why they shop
good.
with you.
And I love to do that. So we just, they bless me, I bless them. So,
and the world goes around.
I like to keep things like that on hand. So, we'll see how it goes.
Oh, everybody's going to love them.
So
they're adorable.
Yeah.
And that can be their little pop of color for their black or brown bag.
Yeah, that's right.
They can have fun with the tot.
Yeah.
I got to look at this. This is some of your painting.
Now that is our removable flap purse. So if you pull up the flap, you can unzip the flap there and you can add a new flap.
So do you take at the show? Do you have a whole new array of flaps?
Yes.
Every show?
Yeah. And, a lot of ladies like the seasonal things, like the snowman or a scarecrow or, so you just unzip that. And then,
right
so
off.
then and they can carry it even without it.
Yeah. It's perfect with no flap.
Yeah. So
what a fun little versatile bag.
I came up with that idea probably 15 years ago. It has been stolen and reproduced on somebody, but
you're the original.
But they only reproduce it in fabric.
Okay.
So, and I didn't copyright it, so that was my own error. So.
Well, as Rusty likes to say, imitation is the best form of flattery, he supposes.
That's right. And, it doesn't bother me a bit. I still sell plenty of them. So, but we have those in all different sizes too.
Oh my goodness. That's just amazing.
The purses never wear out.
Right.
And
sometimes you want something a little fresh.
Yeah. Comments that I heard before we came up with this, if I could ever wear out this purse, I'd buy another one. And I'm thinking, wow, either I'm going to run myself out of business because they're not going to buy them anymore. Or I got to come up with something. So I think it was one New Year's. It was New Year's Eve, middle of the night. No kidding. I got this idea, and so the first thing I did the next morning, I told Stu, I said, "Okay, we got to go downstairs and we got to figure this out." And it took us all day to figure it out. And like Stu likes to say, and we didn't kill each other, so we made it through it, and that's the result that we had. So
I think it's fantastic.
It's been very popular. So you
know,
some people like to do the things like that. We like to do multifunctional items, Like
right, because you're making a lifetime purse.
Yeah.
Like you're making a really good product.
Yeah.
But you also understand that sometimes, people like to switch it up. They like to have fun with their bags. It's still an accessory. So yeah, why not provide them with the accessory for their bag?
Yep.
I just think that that's fantastic.
So we do something similar with our backpacks. We have a convertible backpack that you can convert it 3 ways. You can have it as a backpack, a crossbody, or a shoulder strap. And ladies love that because you don't always need a backpack.
Right.
Sometimes you like to have something. That is a very old picture. Sometimes you just don't need all the backpack thing.
Yeah.
So,
but it makes it for whatever occasion that you need, you can customize.
Right.
I think that's wonderful.
Kind of how we do it.
So how long have you been doing the flaps now?
We've done the flaps. I think it's probably at least 20 or 15 years.
Oh, wow. So pretty early on.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot of that feedback of, I would buy another one, but this one's still great.
Yeah, coming in and I'm like, and I also do the applique on a purse too, because some people don't like the flap. They want it on the purse. So it gives the versatility of.
So you have a bag that you can change out a front panel?
No, any of the applique can be put on an actual purse.
Oh, okay.
So that's where, like with the snowman you saw up there, you can put it. It doesn't have to be on a flap. It can be on the purse
on
itself.
The purse itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then you can't change it, of course.
It's permanent. Right. For a second, I thought you had interchangeable front panels. And I was like, no, that's impressive.
That has long crossed my mind many years ago, actually. And, I opted for this.
Yeah.
Because, I'm like.
I'm trying to think maybe you could zipper on a pocket to something.
Could.
So it could be a front.
You could.
But that would be quite the zipper.
No, it wouldn't be difficult. It would just, we have so many different things now that I try to make, it's like, oh dear, another one, so. But.
So you're still, well, not you, but you're still hand cutting all the bags.
Yes.
There's not been every last one. No clicker dies.
No, I cut out all the parts.
She gets a sewing machine, but you don't get a clicker press.
Nope. I cut out all my pieces by hand. I don't have a clicker press. I could use one, but yeah.
I use a 6-foot long cutting table with a roller cutter, rotary cutter, and it works perfectly. Everything's square.
Yeah. You zip around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at that.
So, and he cuts one at a time. So,
yeah.
Yeah. We don't have room for a clicker. That's one thing that I've thought about it many times, but I'm too old now to do that. I got too many things going.
too set in my ways to change it now.
I'll just keep cutting.
Yeah. I do also your handles are all real nice. As I was looking through your website, you always have rolled handles.
Yeah.
For most of your stuff. So you take whatever the leather of the body is and you roll it up and do a nice double stitch.
It's a fold over.
Handle, which gives it's a nice feel. It's a little bit of a padded without having, padding in there. That's good smush of the leather.
When we first started into the leather purses, my niece is an occupational therapist.
Okay.
And so I relied on her a lot as far as information on what is good and what is bad. She said the worst thing that ladies, and she works a lot with elderly ladies, senior citizens. She said the worst thing that a lady can do is have the small rope handle, because it acts like a tourniquet on your shoulder and it digs into your shoulder.
It cuts off the circulation.
You need a soft handle and you need it wide. the narrow handles are okay if you aren't carrying any weight, but if you're carrying a lot of weight in your purse, you need that wide handle to distribute the weight. And we have always gone with that philosophy, and it holds up better on shoulders. Some people's shoulders are slumped, and some people's are rounded, not slumped, but rounded. And so it's a more comfortable purse, and early on we got known for our handles.
Okay.
So we didn't have the small, tight, hard handles.
Right.
Because they're really hard on your shoulders for long term. If you're not carrying it long term, it doesn't matter. But that's just kind of that was our thing.
Yeah. I know it's kind of the old trope of like the old man wallet that's like 1.5 inches thick, and then he sits on it, and then his spine starts to move over the years as he's sitting on this thing that he shouldn't be, and he's lopsided. But with women, it's the same thing. I mean,
with their purses,
they'll carry 15 pounds on their shoulder of their whole, kitchen sink.
Yeah,
got the whole thing.
Some ladies carry bricks in their purse. I will tell you. I can't even lift them. So that's a lot of weight hanging on your shoulder.
Yeah.
So, and this is just more comfortable. In all of our purses, we designed the zipper to where that was one thing I fought for years. I did not do zippers at first.
Okay.
I would not do zippers at first. And until one year we were at our Tulsa show, and I heard out from beside me, somebody promising we'll have zippers in the purses next year.
Oh.
And it was a very quiet ride home because I was very not happy. And he said, I got it. I've got it. I got it figured out. It'll be okay. I'm like, and I still fought it for a while. And finally, he convinced me that that's the way to go. And that increased our sales just by getting a zipper.
Oh, yeah.
But we designed it to where, like at a show, if a lady brings her purse in and says, my zipper's not working. Okay. All we have to do is replace the head.
Okay.
I unstitch a couple stitches, replace it, and I put the tabs back on. And that lady goes away so happy, and usually with a new purse too.
Yeah.
Because I repaired her other one. And that's only on the ones we make.
Right.
But so the zipper, that's why we designed the zipper the way we did on all of our purses.
So you can just change out the pull if necessary.
Yeah. I don't have to rip out the whole
Yeah.
purse, which I would not do because deconstructing one of these is impossible. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
No.
I put it together, but I can't deconstruct it. It's impossible.
I remade a wallet. One of my friends had like a wallet that he had been given years ago, and the stitching had started to come out of it, and there were some issues, but it was a leather wallet. It was handmade. He got it at a craft fair show, like the whole thing. And so brought it in, and he was like, can you fix this? And I looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, super easy. No worries. Tore that. I mean, even just repairing, like it was like the roper style. You got pockets on two sides. There's a stitch around, and then there's like a stitch down. Even just repairing that very simple thing. Yeah. Leather already has, you have holes in it. Yep. You have to hit back in the same spots. Like it's not fabric. It doesn't just go back together. It doesn't heal. No. That was quite the feat. I was like,
you're better off just starting over. I promise you.
It's like, okay, well, that was my first and last repair, I think.
Yeah. I always send them to a shoe repair store if they have, if I didn't make it, I recommend them sending it to taking it to shoe repair.
Those shoe repair people are talented. And they have a lot of patience. There's not enough of them. Yeah. It is just I think at some point as society, we will necessarily need to get back to more reusable longevity of items.
Yes.
We can only produce this much trash for so long.
I hope that's the case. That's my goal.
Like the oceans are already swimming in it. Yeah. And so it's not great. And so I think just as craftsmen, the little bit that we can do to circumvent some of that. And I think that it's a really cool thing that we do here at Springfield Leather, even just in the leather industry. You were talking about how you love come in and look at our odd lots that we have and the batch purchases that we make. We don't just buy ordered leather from tanneries that they're making precisely from us. We go to tanneries and we say, hey, what overruns do you have? What weird colors? Because it's not necessarily bad leather that came out of the drum, but it may not be the leather that the customer ordered. Something, with the dye lot changed, or for whatever reason, this particular product won't work, or they produced more than they needed. The customer only wants this much. They have an extra 300 feet left, whatever that it is. It's never wasted or bad material. It's always perfectly fine. It just wasn't what the customer ordered. Right. And so now it's sitting on a pallet over here. And when we can take that, we're helping the tannery move something that's getting in their way. We can get it for a really, really good price. That way we can pass it along to our customers at a much cheaper, sometimes half or less than what, per square foot that your regular stock leathers are going to run. But it helps me keep the mindset that we are the recycling industry of the meat industry. And that no leather needs to go to waste.
No. Even ugly leather.
Ugly leather.
Listen, I have had some ugly leather, and I've made it up, and it's sold.
People like weird stuff.
And it's like, okay, it's good, So, and one of the things that we like about the Autolots, she was talking about Autolots, is the price is so much less that we can keep our prices so much less.
Yep.
And to me, it's more unique. I would rather buy, and a lot of times you get better grade leather in the Autolots.
You can, absolutely.
I've had a lot of it. I've stolen a lot of it from you.
I know you have. We compete.
It's a competition,
Kevin's like, this might work really good for the VanArsdales. And he's like, or it could go to live shopping. But if they come in first.
They'll say, oh, I don't know, Liz like this. Okay, I'm taking it.
Mm-hmm. Is it purple?
It's got to be purple, yes. So, yes.
But I mean, definitely it helps you keep your price point down. Right. You're making a lot of unique product. Yeah. And then you can, you're turning it over, and your customers kind of expect that.
Yeah, they do.
Every time that they come in, you're going to have new, unique, different things. Right. And that you didn't have to spend an arm and a leg to get them.
Nope.
So.
But that all comes from, it all originally starts with right here at Springfield Leather. It really does. We're very blessed because we've been able to be part of Springfield Leather for 20 plus years.
For the whole 25 years, probably, yeah.
We've learned a lot, but oh my, if it wouldn't have been for Kevin and for Bo Riddles, honestly, I wouldn't be making purses right now. I wouldn't have a clue how. All people have to do is walk through the door and they'll learn.
And that's our whole goal.
Everybody here is so knowledgeable, really.
Just ask questions. I think
absolutely.
When you're hired here, that's Kevin's number one thing is like ask questions. Yeah. Somebody comes through the door, you walk up to them, say, hey, are you finding everything? They're probably going to say, yeah. Like, okay. But if you haven't seen them before, and they're really not, we have so many things, and then we just have so much in the back. Yeah. We have so many things that you don't necessarily see out on front, or if you don't know to ask for it.
Right.
So, I mean, that's just our one big thing is just ask questions.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you really got to dig it out of people, what they're looking for, what they need. They're not used to stores that are so unique.
Right. But that's the best part of it. We used to tell people, and we still do, just pack a lunch because, you're in there for a long time if you're willing to dig and to, to really search out the unique things. And that's what I do. I don't want to buy just the plain old Jane. I like the
unique, the different,
colorful, the unique.
Yeah.
Even the ugly.
Even because you never know.
That's right.
Even an ugly piece of leather is not a bad piece of leather.
I know.
It's still just a piece of leather.
Yeah. I years ago, Kevin met me at the door and he said, I got some leather you got to see. And he opened up this green hairy stuff and he said, it's called gopher leather. And it was green. It was hairy.
I remember what you're talking about.
Okay. And I've actually got several colors in it. But I made the cutest Grinch out of that gopher, and it is still popular to this day. And I still have some because he gave me such a good price on it. I probably will have, it looks like green grass. I probably will have it.
I remember we had so much of that. And it was like the surface of the leather is cut into these tiny little pieces, just for those of you that don't know what, So it's like shaggy. It's like a 1/4 inch of leather shag.
Yeah.
And it did look exactly like grass.
Yeah.
And we just got
There's
in.
the Grinch right there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Isn't that perfect for him?
Man,
See?
that was a long time ago.
Yeah. And I still have some.
That's
I
a
have
good
black,
piece.
brown, and blue.
It was the most unique looking.
It was.
All that I think about when I see leather like that is the machine that it took to make it.
Yeah.
Like that thing had to have so many scary blades. Like that would probably just shred your skin off if you got your
It
hand.
probably would. I mean, because it is, but it's durable. I mean, so it's that uniqueness,
Yeah.
And I would have not known that had Kevin not said, you got to see this.
Yeah.
And he is constantly doing that for me, just, hey, you got to look at this. You got to look at this. And that's why I have a whole house full of leather.
Well, and that's, one of the really great things about shopping at a family-owned business or just a small local store is that you guys come in. You're here pretty frequently.
Yes.
You talk to us about what you're doing. You let the staff that's helping you know the products that you're looking for, the thicknesses of leather that you can use. And then as we're going through all the odd lots, which is what Kevin does all day long, he's like, this is going to work really great for Bamzi. Yep. Like, this is going to be perfect. I'm going to put it over here. I know that they're going to be in the next month or two or whatever. And when they come in, I'm going to be like, hey, I got you something. Yep. Come check out the pile that I've been building. Yep. And it doesn't matter if you buy all of it or just some of it or whatever. But you know that we have you constantly in our minds.
Yep.
And
Kevin is never wrong when he tells me this is a good seller. No, he never is. I say it to his face because he really is never wrong, because he always pinpoints exactly what I need or what I don't even know I need it. And I'm thinking, I don't know if that'll work or not. I had a real shiny patent leather. It was brown alligator.
Okay.
And I looked at that, and he said, this would make a gorgeous purse. And I said, I don't know, Kevin. Oh, yeah, well, I'll go ahead and get it. And, it is fantastic. And I have sold, I'm just about out of it, So you have to listen. You have to be willing to listen.
He sometimes will steer you right.
Step out. It scares the bejeebers out of you sometimes, but you got to step out and just do it, Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah. I love that. All right. Well, Sondra, it has been really lovely conversating with you this morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to drive down and come in, tell us about your journey and your story. I just, so many people, I think, could benefit from a craft in their life, no matter what it is. I mean,
That's
obviously,
right.
We're all partial to leather here in this room, but going out, making something with your own hands, doing that process, and then, try it out. Try see if you can sell a little bit. See if somebody will buy something that you make.
And they will.
And they will.
They really will.
They will. So thank you for coming in. It's been a lovely conversation. Thank you, Stu, in the corner. You've been great. Thank you so much, and we'll be back next time. Thanks, guys. And that's a wrap on episode 6 of the Make Something podcast. A big thank you to Sondra from Bamzi Bags for taking the time to share her knowledge and perspective with us. Make sure you check her out on their Facebook page and website, and that's at Bamzi Bags, Bamzi, Bamzi Bags. If you're enjoying the podcast so far, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow maker. We've got plenty more conversations coming your way. Until next time, keep learning, keep creating, and most importantly, make something.